everyone. Happy Friday. How we all doing tonight? I hope your weekend is off to a fantastic start. I hope my weekend is off to a fantastic start. Mostly I hope you guys can hear me, and that I think we fixed the audio problem from last time, so you're going to have to let me know. But anyway, it's great to see y'all. Let's see who we've got in the group tonight. So we got Corvette Jim. How you doing, Jim? Burley Nut Bob, Voodoo07, Paul the Piper, Hillbilly Piper, Everett Young. Good to see you guys. Thanks so much for joining us. JMZ56, Robert Miller, Philadelphia Piper, the Virtual Pipe Club. Hey, how you doing there, David-Dorian? So if you don't know, I'm sorry, I was just reading some of the messages. I got distracted by my own feed. David-Dorian Ross is going to be our guest tonight. We're going to have him on in just a short while, about 8:15, and we'll just kind of get warmed up and wait for folks to arrive. But we already got a fantastic crowd. I'm so happy to see that. There's Michael Case and Big Dave. Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate the feedback. Harlow Piper, Jeff Burke, Smoking Kentucky Piper, how you doing? Tim Fournier, Dude Rustica, hello Steve, and Stephen Skip Kane, how you guys doing? Tony 513, Sensika Norberg, Ron H. Fantastic turnout. Couch, hello there. Thanks, Couch. I'm glad it brings joy to your Friday. And I can't tell you how much joy it brings to my Friday to be able to do it. Sailor, hello. Pied Piper TM, how you doing there? Is that trademark? You trademarked Papa. Couch, thank you. Ilva made you do it. Thank you so much, my friend. I was going to turn that off and I forgot. But I really appreciate it. Thank you. Thanks. I'm glad the audio has worked out. Battle Creek Piper, I really am glad because it was a mess last time. So I appreciate you guys sticking with me through that, and you know, I got it going well. One thing I'm a little concerned with, just so you're aware, is I haven't yet tried this setup with the phone, so we may have to play around with that a bit, but I think we're going to be okay. Stratman, hello. So I am smoking my Friday Matches Tribute Pipe, and of course Haunted Bookshop, and I will probably continue to smoke Haunted Bookshop tonight. I've got my Savinelli Hercules here that's on deck for when I finish this, but I think I'm just going to stick with Haunted Bookshop. I'm just in a Haunted Bookshop kind of mood. Aussie Piper, hello. XJ90X, how you doing, Simon? Kilted Piper Steve, hello Steve. Armchair Piper Ed, how's it going, Ed? Boca de Boyton, hello Charlie. Vidmaze, how you doing, my friend? Reed Bender Bud, hello. Cogs and Sprockets. I'm not sure that Simon actually named the birds after me, Couch. He does have one that's quite fond of you, though. Have you seen the video? Signalman Tony from Rhode Island. Hello there, my friend. Good to see you. So, smoking Haunted Bookshop, and I'm having some of that same cast strength bourbon from Grove City Distillery. Very good stuff. And I gotta tell you a quick story. I went to the doctor tonight, routine checkup, just had to have him sort of rubber stamp me so that I could get my prescriptions filled. And I told him I've been having some leg cramps at night. You know, you probably have had these things, and people tell you to eat bananas and it doesn't do anything. So I mentioned it, and he said, well, you know, there's a couple things you could try. He said, you know, try a magnesium, calcium supplement. And he said, and definitely get tonic water. And I said, really? He said, yeah, first, the quinine really helps with leg cramps. And they used to prescribe it, but they're not allowed to anymore. So I said, oh, fantastic. I'll do that. And I said, so it's okay to supplement that with gin, right? And he said, sure. So I actually am under doctor's orders to drink gin and tonics now. But we'll let that go for now. Pipes and Bees, hello. WKR Piper in Cincinnati. How you doing, Odie? Cliff Higgins, hello, Cliff. And Ben Greenman, how you doing, Ben? Yeah, the problem is I don't have any tonic, so I just went with the bourbon tonight. Boris the Piper. Hello, Boris. How cold are you tonight, Boris? Or this morning, I should say. Portsmouth Piper. Hello. And Timber Drifter. I don't think I caught you earlier. How you doing, my friend? Yardism. Hey, Chad. Good to see you. Yes. Yes, Pied Piper. He is indeed. Ron Hardcrackers Ward, hello. You know, Ron H, I've heard that about the bar soap. I don't know. Find that kind of hard to believe. Mark in Rhode Island, how you doing, Mark? I've also heard people say to put silverware in the bed, which really doesn't make any sense. Parikh Piper Skip, hey Skip. Wolf down your 75-degree sandwich, that's not good. Ford Smoking Pipes, hey Ford. How you doing, Johnny? Desert Pine Piper. Hello, Jim. Michael Case, Bombay Sapphire and Tonic. Yeah, that is a good combination. I like gin and tonics. I like them in the summer, though. I don't so much like them in the winter. But you know, what I must do for medicine, you know. Big Dave, I'm not going to answer that. Not cold at all today, 2 degrees. Oh, Boris, I'm glad you're toasty there. That's rather dark, Paul the Piper. Philadelphia Piper, Haunted Bookshop in 7LA 320 KS. Elijah Craig Small Batch Bourbon. Very nice. Very nice. So if you're just joining us, our guest tonight is going to be David-Dorian Ross of the Virtual Pipe Club. And we're going to get David-Dorian on in just a little bit. Just sort of letting the room fill up and saying hello to folks right now. Oh, fantastic, Johnny. It was good to see you in a couple videos today. Really good to see you. J Mouton Pipes, how you doing, Jason? Everett, you and that friend have a few drinking stories, don't you? Big Joe Smoke Show, how you doing, Joe? Start over from the beginning. Good point, Ed. I just have to move to Hawaii and it can be a year-round thing. Big Dave, the homegrown burley is still hanging in the attic because I keep forgetting about it. Out of sight, out of mind, as they say. Oh, Piper on the 45. I hope you can come across it. They're cool little lighters. Sold out indeed, Odie. Yeah, this is a great turnout, and I'm happy to see it. All right, Steph. We'll keep holding on. I know it's eventually going to happen. Yardism's got haunted bookshop in old number 13. Fantastic. Well, Big Dave, my own blend is just going to be Burley, but I'll review it if I ever get around to getting it out of the attic. Joe RDZ, hello there. Good to see you, buddy. Tony 513, cleaning up amber stems. Do it very carefully. Hey, stick around after the interview, and we can get into that more. I don't have a great deal of information for you, but I can tell you what I know. Oh, Portsmouth Piper, that sounds fantastic. A pipe and a rack of ribs. What more could you ask for? How'd we get on to 38 special? Brown t-shirt that just says Burley. I'd buy one, Strapman. I'd definitely buy one. Ford. Yeah, I've thought that many times looking at that later. About me, not about you, my friend. A rack of pipes? No, a rack of ribs. But a rack of pipes would be a fine thing, too. Battle Creek Piper's got some Boswell private stock and a Bing's favorite. Good stuff, isn't that, Battle Creek? I said, don't like. Oh, gotcha. Gotcha, Tim. Thank you. David-Dorian is indeed a rock star, and we're very lucky to have him tonight. Jack Kurtz, hello, my friend. Having his matches pipe with some haunted bookshop and some Jack Daniels honey whiskey. Jack, so good to see you. I'm glad it appears you got your computer fixed. Gotta have to put my glasses on for this one. Lazantaville 1865, having some Three Friars. Very nice. Jim's having the end of the road fruit stand and a Chuck Sands freehand. Very nice. Well, Michael, that's interesting. I assume the t-shirt made sense on her? Oh no. So Simon, it really is true. They're named Mike and Couch. Okay. What'll I tell my wife? I have Tasmanian chickens named after me. She'll just roll her eyes and continue believing that what I do is really not very relevant. All right, folks. So we're at 8:15. We got a really nice crowd here, so I'm quite happy to see that. And I'm going to go ahead and see if I can get David-Dorian on the phone. I don't think David-Dorian needs much of an introduction. He is the guy behind the Virtual Pipe Club, and I'm sure we'll be talking about that a bit tonight. And really looking forward to a chance to chat with him and get to know him a bit better. So let's see if we can call him up on the phone here. As always, give me a thumbs up or thumbs down.
Well, hello there.
Hello, David-Dorian. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing very well, thank you. What a great crowd.
Yeah, this is fantastic. We had quite a nice turnout tonight. So I'm
really nice.
Really happy.
Say hello to everybody. Hello, everybody.
And now we'll have to wait while one by one they respond, right? I'm just waiting to get some confirmation that they can hear us okay. All right, thanks, guys. Appreciate it. We've been having some audio problems off and on over the past couple of weeks, so I always like to check on that. Anyway, David-Dorian, thank you so much for joining us. It's really great. I've been looking forward to chatting with you for a couple of weeks now, and
I'm delighted and honored to be asked. Thank you so much.
No problem. So the whole point of this is we try to get to know the person a bit better, and the way I usually like to start is just ask, can you tell us a bit about yourself?
Sure. I'm a pretty straightforward guy. If you don't mind that unfortunate incarceration, but we won't talk about that tonight. No, let's see. Well, I guess I start. I'm older than dirt, and the way that I calculate my age is that by the time my father was my age, he'd already passed. So I figure I've passed a milestone of some kind.
Oh.
So I'm heading heading over the hill and into the valley beyond. I'm going to be 64 this year. I am a U.S. Navy vet. Born in Oregon, born in Portland, but lived a lot between the city and the farm. My family had a farm out a few miles outside of Portland, and so I spent a lot of time, working as a farmhand, feeding chickens, killing chickens, cooking chickens, milking cows. I worked my way through high school as a relief milker. So I worked for the dairy up the road from our house, and I think that sort of defines my work ethic, which is as long as there's chores to be done, the day ain't over yet.
Yes.
Which nobody that I know can relate to, because then I'm still working at 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah, that's a rare ethic for sure.
It's and I still to this day wake up before dawn, whenever that, regardless of the season. So whether it's the middle of winter or the middle of summer, it's just built into my nervous system by this time. Let's see, what else can I tell you? I do have a day job. The pipe smoking is a wonderful hobby, and I can't tell you. I know it sounds really trite and kind of schmoopy, but the people that I've met in the YTPC and people who are pipe smokers, not in the YTPC, just the nicest group of people I've ever met. So I'm delighted with the hobby and the people that I meet there. But my day job, I run a company that teaches Tai Chi and yoga teachers how to teach Tai Chi and yoga.
Huh.
And we are the exclusive provider for Tai Chi and yoga teachers for the Veterans Administration. So we work with the VA to provide free classes to our 20 million military heroes in the country, and but we get the instructors paid really, really well, and that's my day job.
I see that's really cool. So
we try to
go ahead.
Yeah, I was just saying. So we work a lot with mostly veterans, but also some active duty military, and we're as active as we can be to guide them into medical treatments. So I don't know. I know a lot of the guys that I've talked to in the YTPC are also vets, and we all know how much of a, I'll try to keep it clean here, Mike, but how much of a challenge it can be to navigate the red tape of getting medical care. And so we do try to help guide people into getting their treatments as much as possible, as well as just our specific, modality of Tai Chi and yoga, which we use for things like chronic pain and PTSD and other kinds of treatments, so that the vets don't have to rely solely on prescription medicine. And a lot of those treatments, especially for chronic pain, have in the past been classically opioids. And so we're doing our best to get them away from those and give them some alternatives to that care.
Right. Oh, that's fantastic. That's really, really good work you're doing.
It's a labor of love for sure, and it's like I've just worked my whole life to be in this spot, and I'm grateful every day for the job that I have.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's really fantastic. So
yeah, I see Gary there fighting with the VA. It's like, brother, I hear you. That is the experience that most of us have, fighting with the VA when they should be your partners and doing everything they can to help you. So we kind of, like, there's a bunch of people on my staff who are also vets, and so we go, well, we don't always have to go by the book. We can just get stuff done. And that's how we approach it.
Well, that's great.
I see Boca saying these programs available in VAs all across the country. Yes, sir. All 50 states, plus Puerto Rico, the Marianas Islands, Guam, all these places are eligible for this program.
Wow, that is fantastic. So this might sound like a silly question, but I'm assuming you're also a practitioner of Tai Chi and yoga?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
45 years I've been practicing, studying, traveled all over the world, had some really fantastic experiences. And when I was younger, I represented the U.S. on the U.S. team to compete, worldwide. We competed in China and throughout the Asia, mm-hmm. And that was fun. Got to meet people from all over the world in that martial arts competition phase of my life.
Uh-huh. Well, that's very interesting. No, I don't think of those two things as going together necessarily. Is it a natural thing to combine Tai Chi and yoga in the same system, or?
Well, no, that's a really, really good question. I sort of accidentally started this way. When I first began, I took my first yoga class on a Thursday, and my first Tai Chi class was on the previous Tuesday, and I just started practicing both, all the time. And then, like 10 years down the road, I'd be talking to my yoga friends, and they said, so what's up with this Tai Chi stuff? And then my Tai Chi friends would go, are you still doing yoga? I'm like, you don't know. This is like the Reese's peanut butter cup of healthcare. You need to. They go great together.
Really, that's really interesting. So, do you see? When I think of yoga, I usually think of it as something that women will gravitate towards. Do you see that sort of distinction? Are the men more interested in the Tai Chi, or?
Not at all. In fact, we have a lot of vets who are asking for more yoga. I think, especially some of the younger ones, old farts like me, they tend to, I'll tell you a funny story. So I was actually teaching some classes on a cruise ship. This is a long time ago. And while I was wandering around one day, one of the guys who was there in the tour cornered me and said, "You're the Tai Chi and yoga guy." And I was like, "Yes." And they said, "Yoga, huh? That's what girls do, isn't it?" I was like, "Well, you haven't been to my class. I can tell you that much right now." So, no, but a lot of the younger vets are really hip to how beneficial yoga is and like the type of exercise it is. So they're really into it.
That's really interesting. It's a whole world that I know very little about, so I just find it fascinating.
Well, if you ever want to find out more, I know a guy who knows a guy. So
well, I'll keep that in mind.
I can
help you. Very cool. So you said you did some part-time milking. Was the farm a dairy farm that your parents had?
So we had sort of just a self-sustaining farm. My mother's folks come from Kansas, Oklahoma, and when they moved out to the West Coast, they brought their lifestyle with them. So my grandfather had cattle, and then when he got too old, he had sheep. And my uncle and my aunt had a farm where they had just a few head of cattle and horses and a lot of chickens and whatnot. And then I lived there when I was going to high school, and up the road a ways was a dairy. They were like, so when I say up the road a ways, so this is how we used to say it, but they're like our closest neighbors 2 miles up the road. So those are like our next door neighbors, right? Very far, 2 miles up the road. And I'd get on my bicycle every Friday afternoon after school and ride up there and spend the next 6 hours milking cows and getting on a tractor and shoveling like tons of manure into the drains and whatnot. I would come home at the end of my shift, and my aunt would make me stand on the back porch while she hosed me off with a garden hose. And then I would go do it again for the entire weekend, and then get up Monday morning and go back to school. Wow. And hopefully didn't carry any of the cows with me to class.
Hopefully she hosed well.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. So I have to ask you a bit about the Virtual Pipe Club, because that's obviously what you're best known for within the community right now. So when did you start that, and sort of what were your thoughts behind starting that?
It was this whole thing with the Virtual Pipe Club, and then where we are right now with the honor that we just got from Country Squire and whatnot. Mm-hmm. Really took me by surprise. I was just getting back into pipe smoking around the time that the pandemic hit, and so there weren't any real big pipe clubs anyway, and the ones that were around closed down. And I was like, well, I'm just at the point where I want to meet some more people and sit around and smoke with some people. And right. At the same time, another thought that I had was I'd love to meet some people who live outside of the U.S. Some European pipe smokers, and meet some people who had maybe different culture around pipe smoking and smoke different kinds of tobacco. I really didn't know anything. So in the course of my day job, we use social media and Zoom and virtual meetings all the time. We've sort of been a pioneer in that. And so I said, well, I'll just start a group online. And I really expected maybe, a half a dozen guys, and we'd just sit around and shoot the, mm-hmm. And now we have like 2,000 people who have joined our Facebook group, and, the rest is history.
Yeah, that's really remarkable. I was honored to be a guest a month or two ago, and I really enjoyed the experience.
We loved having you on. Talk about, somebody said I was a rock star. I'm not a rock star. You're a rock star.
Oh, I don't know about that.
You're a rock star. So it was really great to have you on, and it was really one of our most popular episodes that we've had. So that was really a lot of fun to have you on, man.
Well, thank you. That's great to hear. But I was really impressed. Both, I mean, first off, I'm impressed with how well you produce the virtual pipe club. I mean, it looks really good, and everything goes very smoothly. You've incorporated the Zoom really well. Um, but you got a great group there. It's an international group, and they're interactive and chatty, and it's really just a lot of fun.
We just, Oliver Kunt, who's one of the members of the Pipe Club, and he just sort of stepped up one day and said, "Listen, do you need any help?" And I'm like, "Yes, I do." So he's jumped in and been really active behind the scenes, and so he just messaged me earlier this week and said we have 91 countries represented in the Virtual Pipe Club.
Wow,
which is just mind blowing. It's really awesome.
That is remarkable. Yeah. And can you tell us a little bit more about the honor you mentioned? Because I saw some clips about that, but I'm not sure I understand exactly what the award was.
Sure. I'm sure that there's more than one group that does stuff like this, but the Country Squire Radio. So John David Cole and Bo, whose last name I've forgotten.
York.
Yes. Sorry, Bo. So they have this wonderful podcast, Country Squire Radio, and it's a really wonderful, upbeat kind of smoking show. And every year towards Christmas time, they do a best of the year just gone, and they'll do best of artisan pipe carvers. They'll do best of small batch blends, and then production blend, all this kind of good stuff. And this year they started a brand new category, Best Pipe Club / Pipe Community, and this is something I listened to them last year when they did their best of, and so I know what happens is they do a nomination of they solicit nominations for different winners of the categories, and then people vote, and they, by virtue of all that, we were honored as Best Pipe Club of 2020, and
wow.
just blew my mind. And it's nothing that I can claim personally by any means. It's the group, like you said, it's great people on this group, and just the vibe that they bring, and it's wonderful. And all these people who are like here, like Steph and Skip and WKR Piper and Cincinnati, like all these guys who show up on the YouTube channel, they're just as much a part of it as anything else. So really, it's everybody who's here tonight, won the award.
Right.
Thank you guys.
Yeah. That's fantastic. So congratulations to the whole group. It's great to be recognized like that, and I know exactly what you mean.
This year we're going to try to even go further than we did last year. Like last year was wonderful. We had a lot of growth in the people who come to the BPC during the meetings. But, we've also had these fantastic guests like yourself, and we had Tom Eltang be a guest, and Chris Morgan, a lot of folks. This year we're going to keep on doing that, and we're going to add a visit to your favorite brick and mortar pipe shops. So we're going to try to go on a nationwide tour, maybe even international. Like we'll get into stores in Europe and Asia as well, as much as we can.
Wow.
And do a virtual visit, to get them to turn their phone on and show their shelves and their pipe collections, and talk a little bit with maybe a customer or two, and really get a feel for what the old school pipe shops were like, and what the ones that are still around, and give them some love and give them some support as well.
Oh, that's a really cool idea. Yeah, I hope that works out well. It's an experiment. We'll see. Yeah, what we get out of that. Yeah, especially the sort of multicultural aspect of it. I'm always surprised. We will sometimes get folks dropping in from China, for example, on this show, and if you get to chat with them for a little while, you realize that while pipe smoking is a very different thing for them because of what they have available, and what the culture is and all. In the end, it's the thing that brings us together as well.
It is a wonderful connecting point for people of different cultures and whatnot. And it is really sometimes makes me sad in a way. So, for example, the last summer in South Africa, we had a bunch of guys from South Africa who were coming to the Virtual Pipe Club. And one of the reasons why is that they were in such a lockdown. They closed all of the pipe, and tobacco stores. They closed all the liquor stores. You couldn't order it online. So they were down to smoking, I think, lawn clippings by the time they were done. And they would show me the packages of tobacco that was available that could get shared around, and it was really not anything that you or I would smoke if we had a choice.
Sure.
But it's but they wanted to come and hang out with other people and still have a chance to be part of the community.
Yeah, that's really remarkable. It's not even so much what you're smoking, it's just the fact that you've got a pipe in your hand and like-minded people to talk to. Well, that's just amazing. So I'm really glad you're having all that success, and it sounds like you're moving in some very exciting directions there.
We didn't think about it as something like a business, like when I think about the business that I run, we have strategic planning throughout the year, and we have a mission and milestones that we try to hit. And we didn't think about Pipe Club as anything at all like that. It was really just a place where people could come and gather, and then I try to make it entertaining by having guest speakers and one of the things about this group and like all these guys, I'm watching the chat go on here. We are an insatiable bunch of people when it comes to wanting to know more about our hobby or what you call a hobby or lifestyle or whatever.
Right.
Wanting to know more about different kinds of pipes and more about different kinds of tobaccos and where it all comes from and everything. And it's so much fun to keep on bringing out another aspect for people. They just eat it up. I know I do, for sure. And so I've gotten a huge education.
That's fantastic. So what is the sort of the either the most interesting thing you've learned during this, or the one experience that kind of really stands out for you?
Oh boy, the one experience that stands out. I don't know that I could narrow it down to one.
Top 10.
But maybe I could point to a couple of different things that were really surprising. So how I keep coming back to the people in the pipe community and the YPPC, and all the guys who are here tonight. I am a part of other communities online. I'm a member of different veterans communities. Obviously, I'm a member of the different kinds of groups that do the kind of business I do, etc. And I'm not blind to the fact that there are a few people in the YTPC who are, grumpy old men. but for maybe that's just referring to myself. I don't know. But I have to say that by and large, the people involved in the pipe community are the nicest, most respectful, most pleasant people to be around. And I know for a fact that we come from all different kinds of political spectrums, cultures, nationalities, etc. And nevertheless, I've never run into anybody that was a jerk. We sort of tongue-in-cheek say that the Virtual Pipe Club has only one rule, and that's, don't be a dick. You can come on and we can talk about all kinds of things. As long as you're respectful to everybody else, everyone's welcome and whatnot. But to be honest with you, nobody's ever showed up with a bad attitude.
Right. Yeah, it's remarkable. You reminded me of something when you were talking about different backgrounds and all of that. Occasionally, we see these sort of montages, like Flatwater Monty usually does one at Christmas time, where he just asks everybody to send in a picture. And a lot of these folks are not people that are making videos, but they just want to be part of this montage. And you sit back and you watch this and you think to yourself, if we all wound up in a room together and we didn't know we were pipe smokers, there probably wouldn't be a whole lot of conversation. We're just so different, so diverse. Yet you put the pipe in everyone's hand, and all of a sudden, we're all best friends. It's really remarkable.
I think that's one of the things I love about this hobby. Is I have a very strong, abiding philosophy about the goodness of human beings. That people at their heart are really good. Sometimes they show up as being kind of a jerk. But once you find a place where people can relate to one another and have a common point of interest, and all that other stuff just falls away, and you can just become a friend and really say, I see your good heart there. I see how what a good sense of humor you've got. I can see that you're smart, and you're more poetic than you let on, that kind of thing. So that's what I think that's the strongest, biggest thing I would come away with from the experiences that I've had at the Virtual Pipe Club.
Right. That's really wonderful. Well, listen, David. Oh, good. Did you have something?
No, I was just going to say some of the other thing that's been really amazing is the chance to meet some. In other industries, it would be a challenge to get into a direct conversation with some of the business leaders, the people who run some of the larger manufacturing concerns. For example, if you were involved in computers or electronics or something like that, and you wanted to speak to Tim Cook or Bill Gates or something like that, it'd be like, good luck.
Right.
But we've had Per Jensen in our as a guest. We're working on Sykes Wilford to be a guest, but we've had Shane Ireland and Jeremy Reeves both. We've had Russ Ouellette on as like these are like, talk about rock stars.
Right.
These are the rock stars. So these are fantastic, and that's been really wonderful to get a chance to ask them questions to find out this long history and great tradition that they have.
Yes. Yeah, it is wonderful, and how quickly they become just one of the guys is always remarkable to me.
I remember the first time I did a review video on McBaron Rustica, and I don't know if you've ever seen any of my tobacco review videos, but the first thing I say is, I am not an expert in any way, shape, or form on pipes or pipe tobacco. I'm just giving you like top of my head. And the next morning, I go to look at the comments, and Per Jensen had liked and commented on the video, and I was like dancing around the room. And my wife's like, "Are you okay?" Like, this is something wrong here. So,
yes.
He's just like one of the guys. He really is.
Oh, it is remarkable. I had a similar experience. I did a review of Bengal Slices when they first brought it back, and the next morning I had an email from Russ Ouellette, so commenting on the and I was just shocked by that. But over the years I've come to realize that that's just the way folks are in this community.
It's just wonderful.
Yeah, remarkable stuff.
Well, June Rustica says, Rustica? Listen, I got to tell you a story about Rustica. Do we have time? I don't want to take up all your time.
No. Well, just we're gonna switch over to questions from the group. So let me just give them a heads up that they can go ahead and start asking the questions. And you please go tell your Rustica story then.
So I had seen this article, and I had talked about it on a short live stream I did about some archaeologists and anthropologists who had found post-Columbian and pre-Columbian pipes from Native American villages, and that what they were using a different kind of science that has to do with studying ancient plant material. And they discovered that inside these two pipes was tobacco, and the pre-Columbian pipes had rustica in it. So that was the main tobacco that they were smoking in before, the 1500s was rustica. And then the more modern pipes had tobacum, Nicotiana tobacum, which is what you get out of Jamestown, and is the basis of all of our great Virginias and all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. And so I thought that was really cool, and and it did mention some other plant material and blah blah. And I didn't really understand what that meant. I just thought it was fun to hear about the rustica. So this week, I actually came across another article referencing that. And what I found in this new article was that the pipe that had the rustica in it was mixed with a variation of the marigold plant, which is a hallucinogen. So the HH rustica used to be like the gin and tonic, the rustica and the marigold, and you'd get high off of it, and that's what they were smoking back there. So that's my story about that. Well, by the way, so real quick before we get into the questions, I had to say something about gin and tonic. So you know that gin and tonic was invented, at least this is the story I heard, so again, I could be wrong about this, but this is the story I heard. So back in the day when the Brits were colonizing these tropical climes down in Southeast Asia and whatever, and they were prescribing quinine to combat malaria, right? So the Brits said, the quinine tastes so terrible, can we just cut it with gin? And so in order to be able to get them to drink their quinine, the doctor said, mix it with gin. That's how the gin and tonic came about.
Yes, I've actually heard the same story, and I've gotten it from a fairly reliable source, so I think that is true, and it's hilarious to me that that we still drink them today and have no idea.
So I'm with you, man. Under doctor's orders.
There you go. All right, great. Well, time is really flying by here, so I'm going to see if we can get some questions from the chat, if that's okay with you.
Absolutely, sure.
Paul the Piper is looking to find out if the Virtual Pipe Club sells merchandise.
Well, we don't sell swag. Like, we don't have T-shirts and all that kind of stuff like that. But we are trying to do some fun stuff. Like, we just sold out of a club pipe that we had commissioned from Chris Morgan. Mm-hmm. So Chris was one of our guests, and we got to talking about it. And he said, "Yeah, I can make you guys a club pipe." And so Oliver's the guy who does it all. Oliver is. We commissioned him. We ordered 100 pipes. We sold all out of them. And I think just this last week, everybody finally got their pipe all over the world. Right. So we're going to do it again. We're going to do maybe a meerschaum. Cool. If we can get a good price on it. And then one of the guys in the club, everybody's favorite, Dimitri, is working on a club blend. An Oriental-based club blend. So if you don't turn up your nose at Orientals, that'll be something that you can order. But you have to be a club member for that.
Very nice. And that brings us right into our next question from Jar DZ, who is actually calling out Dimitri. He wants to know how you met him, and comments that he's so knowledgeable in the history of tobacco and other things. So how did you guys meet?
He just showed up one day. I was like, I don't know how any of these guys found us, to be honest with you. I'm like the guy who set up a lemonade stand, and the next thing you know, he owns, the big orange juice company, or whatever that is.
Right. That's cool. Steph and Skip Kane is saying that she wishes she had a question, but all she has is thanks for being awesome. And you
I love these guys, by the way.
They're great guys. They're like, fantastic.
Yeah, they're my heroes. I love them both.
Cogs and Sprockets is asking how to join the Virtual Pipe Club. I put a link in the description to your page, your YouTube page, but any other ways? And they're asking about the Zoom link in particular.
So it is a bit of a misleading idea to say join the Virtual Pipe Club. There are no dues or forms to fill out or nothing formal of that nature at all. Everyone is automatically a member if you show up and mind your P's and Q's. The way that we make it sort of easy for people to get access to the club meetings is on the YouTube group, or not YouTube, the Facebook group. So if you go on to Facebook and you just search up Virtual Pipe Club and you come to our group, then it's just like joining any other group. Put in your name, answer a couple of questions, say, of course, I'll abide by the rules, which are don't be a dick, and then you're in. Many of you guys know that we simul-stream to YouTube on the weekends as well, but I don't put the link to the Zoom room on YouTube. We did that one week, and then we got Zoom bombed by Pornhub.
Oh, boy.
And so we decided not to do that again.
Yeah.
So if you want to get the Zoom link, and I wish more people would, because it's really fun to have you all in the Zoom room, just go to Facebook, and on Saturday mornings, I will put on almost all of the pipe groups the link to that day's Zoom. Okay.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. And you don't have to be a quote-unquote member or whatever just to show up and have, but come when you can, leave when you need to. That's our basic philosophy.
Right. Very good. Let's see. Stratman is asking if you have a personal dream guest that you hope to get on.
Personal dream guest. Well, I don't know if he's the big fish, but I would like to get Sykes Wilford on, because Sykes has done something that is quite extraordinary in the pipe smoking and premium tobacco industry. In that at a time when so many different companies are going under, he's growing. He created a new access to people via the internet. And he expanded. Now he's got Peterson's and he's got Cornell and Deal, and I think that's a really interesting business story to listen to. And so I'd like to get Sykes on to talk to him about and have him share a little bit about that.
Yeah,
that's my big fish or not, but
that would be really interesting. I mean, I was just talking to someone the other day about, you probably heard this scare over whether or not Carter Hall is going away. And, the fact is, you've got a lot of companies like Middleton that are, pipe tobacco is a tiny, tiny portion of what they do. And what Sykes has done is he's created this company that really is solely devoted to pipe smoking. And he's able to save some of those blends, which is wonderful.
Yeah. So he represents something that, and listen, guys, I am not tone deaf. I know where so many of us are sitting with things like the FDA deeming regulations and the disappearance of so many different blends and whatnot. But there will be others like Sykes who step in, because when an industry begins to disappear, it is actually an opportunity for it to grow in another direction. And so there's going to be somebody else who steps in and figures out a workaround of the FDA regulations. There's somebody who's going to step in and figure out how to salvage a small farm in Syria they'll convince them to grow Latakia there again.
Uh-huh.
Right? It's just without doubt, or they'll transplant it and grow it in China, and then we'll have a variation of that plant growing in another country, and there'll be people like that. But Sykes, would be a great precursor to that happening.
Yes. Yeah. I see where you're going there.
I see a bunch of people on the chat going, expressing their Facebook hate. Facebook hate is everywhere. Listen, guys, I get it.
Yeah.
It's pretty convenient for me because I'm on it all the time. If I didn't do it for work, I probably wouldn't be on it at all. But so there are other places, like you can get to me personally. If you go to the YouTube channel, there's always ways that you can message me through the videos. You make a comment in the video, I see it right away. Or I think I even have an email address on there somewhere. I can't remember, but I'll send you the link. I'll just do it personally. You don't have to. I would not want you to suffer the slings and arrows of Facebook just to get to the Pipe Club.
Yes. Well, a related question to that is that we're worried, to be frank, about where things are going with tobacco on the internet. And YouTube's been kind of dodgy lately, and I don't know how Facebook is moving. I mean, have you thought about alternative platforms at all in case they decide to just drop the axe?
So this is an interesting question, and as different platforms or different companies of any kind mature, they get more mainstream, and they begin to be more sensitive to their sponsors and their investors. And I think that some of the things that we're seeing right now on Facebook and YouTube are going in that direction. So what other platforms do we look at? So we look at some of the younger ones, the ones where people go to be naughty. Because that's, in a sense, I think that's kind of one of the things that's so cool about the pipe community is like we're all being a little bit naughty, right. To smoking pipes and whatnot. And so Twitch is essentially a gaming platform, but we're on Twitch. So if YouTube eventually says we will not allow, or you have to go through some giant fiery hoop to do tobacco videos, we'll all go on Twitch over there because it's out there, it's mature enough so that it's not going to disappear overnight, and we'll do shows there. Right.
Yeah, and I think the good thing is we've got a good enough network now that we can all get in touch with one another in some way. And there's Briar Report, which is doing an excellent job of sort of keeping people in touch off of YouTube. So if it does come to that, I think we'll find one another again.
Yeah. It's as small as some people consider the pipe smoking community. It's substantial enough that people, and Sykes is a great example, will find it to be a business that they can make money off of. And as long as somebody can make money off of it, they're going to make it available to us as the consumer. So trust me, guys, it's not going to go away. I know that there's a lot of doom and gloom, and just because there's red tape and bureaucracy and government regulations, that's always been there for everything. There was government regulations against steel, at some point in time, and steel's still around.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, I was reading, I think it's called The Pipe Book. It was this book that was published like in the 70s. Not a great book, but it's got a really interesting section on like pipe smoking history. And it goes through the sort of ups and downs of tobacco. And, as early as like not long after tobacco was brought back from the New World, one of the Jameses of England, I forget, King James the Watt, actually issued a decree illegalizing it and saying that it was a terrible habit and had to be stopped and all. So this isn't new. This has been around for a long time.
But did you know how that story ended up?
No, I don't.
There was so much pushback from the aristocracy
Ah,
that he rescinded the edict.
really? I didn't know that. Well, that's fantastic. That's a perfect example of what can happen.
I'm an optimist, though. I had a friend of mine tell me once, we were talking about, the old glass half empty, glass half full. And I said, I'm a pretty much glass half full person all the time. And she goes, no, you're not. That's what he means. She goes, you're just a glass full, period.
Well, not a bad way to be, I guess.
I didn't tell her the glass is full of gin and tonic. That's...
Let's see. Going to answer one last question, or ask one last question, because we're at 9 o'clock, and I want to let you get on with your evening. So it's another one from Strapman regarding Dimitri. He wants to know, why doesn't Dimitri ever answer his door at midnight?
Because he's in the back in the laboratory coming up with a new blend.
I don't know the backstory there, but it's funny anyway. Well, David-Dorian, I really enjoyed this. The time just flew by, and I hope you had half as much fun as I did.
I really did. When we talk about celebrities, or I guess celebrities is too strong a word, but well-known people on the YTPC, like long before I ever started the Virtual Pipe Club, I was watching your videos and really enjoying them. You have such a wonderful personality and demeanor, and so to be invited on your show is really a delight, and I appreciate it.
Well, it was absolutely my pleasure, and thank you so much for taking the time out and joining us. So with that, I will wish you all the best, and hopefully we will chat again very soon.
Sounds good to me. All right, good night, everybody.
All right, good night now. Well, there we go, folks. Another really fun evening chatting with a guest. I thought it was fun. I hope you enjoyed it, and I could tell by the engagement in the chat room that you guys were following along and enjoying David-Dorian. Definitely, if you don't know the Virtual Pipe Club, there's a link below to the YouTube page. If you're on Facebook, join the Virtual Pipe Club group, because then you'll get the notifications about the Zoom chat. But even if you don't have that, it is, as David said, simulcast on YouTube every Saturday. I forget the time. I think it's 1 p.m. 1 p.m. Eastern. Really a lot of fun. He has great guests, and the guys in the Zoom chat are very interactive, very knowledgeable. Really a good time. So please check that out. I think you'll really enjoy it. Thanks, guys. I'm seeing a lot of great shows, and I'm glad you enjoyed it. I certainly did. So I remember something coming up before we got David-Dorian on the line that I was going to talk about after, and I can't remember what it was. So if anybody can remember that, please remind me. Otherwise, it's 2 p.m. Eastern. Thank you, Patrick Grant. So the Virtual Pipe Club is 2 p.m. Eastern on Saturdays. Sorry, sometimes I just can't see the names. I can read the text, but the names are a little bit grayed out. James Stumbo is asking, will I be making any new pipe repair videos soon? Well, there's a lighter repair video that I started last Monday and will be coming out this Monday, second and final episode there. And I do have a pipe repair video that I'm working on right now. It's basically a stem, but it's a pipe that's got some really interesting history behind it. I haven't started editing that yet. I'm just filming everything, and I'm hoping that I'll be able to piece something together. So you'll see the lighter repair this coming Monday, and there'll probably be a week delay before the pipe repair starts. So you will be seeing something soon. Cleaning an amber stem. Thank you, Jim. Thank you. Yeah, I've got almost no information on cleaning an amber stem. I think, well, first off, amber is very easy to break, so you want to be careful with it, is the first thing. I've seen some people say that amber reacts with alcohol, and I haven't actually experienced that myself, but it's something to keep in mind. So you might want to try something that's a bit more gentle, maybe just some dish detergent and water to clean it. And that's about everything I have. I don't know if you're talking about cleaning the inside or the outside. My guess is it's the inside. The airway tends to get very dark on those. So I would probably try some dish detergent and water and bristle pipe cleaner and see how that works out. Oh, thank you, Patrick Grant. I'm glad you enjoyed that. Yes, the Nimrod lighters. Wednesday rumbles. I've seen a couple questions about Wednesday. I did not do a Wednesday video this week. I apologize for that, but I just had too much going on and couldn't do it. A live pipe repair, James. That's an interesting thought. Yeah, I don't know if that would work out well, because there's actually a lot of things that can go wrong. I have never smoked aperitif by Dunhill, Stratman. Sorry. Yeah, Tony 513. That's what I would try then, if it's the inside. Pipes and Bees is weighing in, saying that amber does react with alcohol. Yeah, I thought that was true. So you want to be very careful with that. Michael Case, that's a good question. So Michael's asking about Sunday the 24th, which is coming up. Is anyone doing anything special to mark the passing of Matches 860? I thought about it, and I think that I'm kind of torn. I mean, I will certainly talk about John on Sunday. I mean, that's going to be part of. I normally do a Sunday video, but I didn't want to do anything special like a live stream or anything like that. I think we've done a lot of that over the past year, and I'm not trying to say that that's in any way inappropriate, but I just think it might be best to mark this individually, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot of videos coming out this weekend marking John's passing, and let people reflect on that independently, and let's see the community do that rather than one person try to lead it. So that's my thought on it. Let's see, Paul the Piper, I hear COVID got the mayor, the one on the YTPC. I'm not sure what that means, Paul. I'm sorry. Yeah, XJ, you have to be careful with alcohol, especially on acrylic stems. It's really bad on acrylic stems, and in particular, isopropyl alcohol is bad on acrylic stems. So Paul the Piper's already done a tribute video for John. Well, thank you, Paul. I'm going to have to look at that. I'm way behind on videos. Yeah, Gary, I agree with you. Gary Edminster saying let Sarge do it. I agree. I think Sarge will do something, and let's wait for that. Yeah, it is hard to believe it's been a year. And Tony 513 also had a really nice tribute to John in the past week or two. That I was quite touched by. I think the title was a poem for Matches 860, something like that. Really well done, Tony. Sorry, Strat Man, but it's funny. Okay, so Rob Boston is clearing these things up with Derek. I don't actually know Derek. Well, Gary, I think a lot of us are still hurting, and that's the point. I didn't want to dig a lot of, open up wounds, I guess, is what I'm thinking. And I'm trying not to be insensitive at the same time, because it's very easy to cross that line. And I don't for a minute mean that it's not a worthwhile thing to talk about. Yeah, XJ, I think you're going to have some trouble buffing it up. I don't know what would do that. So I've gotten to the point where if I'm doing an acrylic stem, thank you, Paul Johnson, I appreciate that. If I'm doing an acrylic stem, and I need to retort the pipe, I actually make a little false, just basically a tenon that fits in out of Delrin that I can fit the tube over for the retort. And I retort it that way. I don't retort the stems on acrylic pipes because I've had a couple of very bad experiences with that. Thank you, Gary. I appreciate it. And yeah, Paul, I think many of us feel that way. So it expands when it's back in alcohol? If that's the case, XJ, I have no idea if this will work, but you might try soaking in alcohol, letting it expand again, and then just gradually increasing the amount of water until it's back in just water. So maybe do like 10% water and pour some of the mixture out, add another 10%, and just keep doing that. Let it equilibrate for 10 minutes or so between each change, and that might do it, but I have no idea. Smoking the Ghost, lighting the last bowl of Haunted Bookshop in the original Friday 7 LA. I hope that's not the last bowl of Haunted Book. I hope that's the last bowl for the night, not the last bowl that you have. What year did the Nimrod lighters come out? Do I have the thing that I wrote here? 1947 is sticking in my head. Is it? No, I don't have the card that I wrote that down on. I talked about it at the beginning of Monday's video. I think it was 47, but I could be wrong about that. It was shortly after World War II, though. Yes, Steph, please do that. I don't know Derek, but anybody that is in that situation, obviously we feel for him. Paul Johnson is asking if Haunted Bookshop is okay on the drier side. Paul, I've always smoked it exactly the way it came, and it does come a bit on the drier side. I like that because it means I'm not buying water. Some folks like to rehydrate it. It's really up to you. You know, try it, and if it's burning a little too hot or too fast for you, try to rehydrate it a bit. Yeah, XJ, that's a good point. An oil might be a better option than water. Dan Tobacco. I've not ever had a bad blend from Dan Tobacco. I haven't had many Dan Tobaccos, Portsmouth Piper, but every one I've had has been excellent. Um, I've had Devil's Holiday, which I have to say is not something I would seek out, but it was an interesting blend, and it was very high quality aromatic. I really like this honeydew that I have that was given to me by my friend the Durham Duke, um, and I smoke that quite frequently. And I think Dan makes the Salty Dog, which is a really good vapor. So. Yeah, some of those Ronsons were tanks, Gary. Oh, sorry, Full Dottle. Was that too big of a word? Yeah, amber is old tree sap. That's true, Gary. But it's very glassy. Yeah, Tony 513. I really don't know much about K Woodies. Um, sorry, I just don't know. Anyone have any Flying Dutchman match recommendations for Gary Edminster? I had a. Trying to remember what the Sutliff match is called. Roper's Rondelles are also good. Is that a Dan Tobacco, Christian? Getting lots of positive thumbs up on Salty Dogs. Good stuff. Tim Fournier burned a hole in 2K Woodies. Sorry about that, Tim. They did tend to make small, thin-walled pipes, so it's not that hard to do it. All right, Paul Johnson, thank you much for joining us. You have a great weekend, too. Cogs and Sprockets really enjoying a bowl of Until the End, one of the Cornell and Deal Warped collaborations. Very nice. And an LCS Briar. Fantastic. All right, so Jim is saying that KB&B used the same briar as K Woody, so that would suggest that there's not going to be much of a difference there. Ah, thanks, Christian. So that's a vapor from Dan Tobacco. I'll have to look for that. I get that, Michael Case. I understand how Dark-Fired Kentucky could remind you of Latakia. Dark-Fired Kentucky's interesting stuff. I mean, sometimes it's in a blend, and I swear there's Perique in the blend, even though I know there's not. And other times it has a very smoky quality. Strapman is asking how hard it is to widen an acrylic stem that has a slight to tight draw. Depends, Strapman. If you're talking about widening the whole airway, you know, is it pinched at the button? Because sometimes they just use a circular cutter to cut in the airway at the mouthpiece, and then it's just a straight draft hole from there. So sometimes just funneling that out can help a lot, and that's pretty easy for anyone to do. You just get one of these, I forget what he calls them. He might call them funneling saws from Vermont Freehand, and they're cheap. They're like $5. If you got to actually drill the airway, that's a bit more challenging. All right, Steph, you have a good evening, and Skip, all the best to you. Have a great weekend. Thanks for joining us tonight. Really appreciate it. Any way to smooth out an airway in a bent stem, Rob Austin? Yeah, straighten it. Heat it up, straighten it, smooth it out, and then bend it again. Sorry, Rob, that's the only way I know how to do it. Oh, Michael K's Perotti cigars are fantastic. And they're dark fired for sure. I'm with you on that, Boris. I wouldn't say I love dark fired, but I can appreciate dark fired if it's done right in the blend. But man, you put a microscopic amount of Latakia in a blend, and I just can't handle it. The McBaron dark fired ready rub does, yeah. Good stuff, Kirk. Yeah, smoking the ghost, that'll happen. I know a lot of guys that have gone through that process where, you know, they love Latakia and then all of a sudden, just not so much. Okay, Rob. Happy to do it for you, buddy. So Paul the Piper has a vintage meerschaum with a screw stem, but the stem overscrews and the stem no longer sits straight. Ah, Paul. So what you got to do, you could do one of two things. You can make a little paper shim, and I'm embarrassed to say that that's how I've gotten by with my meerschaum, just like a little washer between the stem and the shank, and you just add paper until it sits right. That's the crappy way to do it. The right way to do it is that stem should be, but you got to figure out if it's screwed into the stem. So if it's screwed into the stem, then you got to somehow stop it from turning in too far. It's all about the stem side of it, though. I hope that makes sense. It's not as easy to fix as another pipe that overclocks, because those are glued in, whereas the meerschaum ones tend to be screwed in. Know of a tobacco with a nice bready flavor. Tony 513, I don't get a lot of this bready flavor that people talk about, but the one thing that really hit me that way was one of the Rattrays blends. And I'm trying to remember which one it was. It might have been Old Gowrie. It had this really nice sort of bready, oaty flavor to it that I enjoyed. I think it was Old Gowrie. But don't go out and search for Old Gowrie based on that alone, because I could be completely wrong. Anybody else got some recommendations for a bready blend for Tony. Dark Fire Kentucky has an unusual sweet undertone that you don't enjoy. Yeah, Full Dawdle, I do get that. You know, so folks love Old Dark Fired. I understand. You know, it's a good tobacco, but honestly, it's not something I want to smoke. And part of the reason is that sweet undertone. I get the same thing that you're talking about there. The screw part on the stem is meerschaum. No, it's well, it might be, Paul. I obviously don't know, but it's probably bone. They actually made those out of bone, so I don't think it's meerschaum, because the meerschaum wouldn't hold the thread very well. Yeah, XJ's given a good suggestion there. I mean, the problem is that you can back it off, but it's got to tighten up again. So it's really hard. You could back it off, but at that point, you probably want to put a little bit of glue in it just to lock it in place. Of course, then if it clocks over again, you got the problem of the glue. But you can usually take care of that with a little bit of heat. McBaron Navy Flake is bready with a floralish note on top. Interesting smoke in the Ghost. It's been years since I've had McBaron Navy Flake, so I'll have to take your word for it. Full Dawdle saying Yorktown was a bit bready. Maybe. Sure thing, Paul. I hope it's helpful. Yeah, I'll relight once, and I'm getting to the bottom of this bowl and the bottom of my glass, and it's almost 9:30. So next week, we got CaneRod Pipe Virtual Pipe Club. Gotta say that because I want to distinguish it from the Virtual Pipe Club. Oh, you know what, Bonapiper, that's a good point. Yeah, Union Square definitely has some bready notes to it. That's a really good point. So yeah, we got Virtual Pipe Club next week, which means you're stuck with just me, but I promise to be entertaining. The week after, I'm actually taking the week off. Hope you guys don't mind that, but I don't have a guest for that week, and I got some other stuff going on. I just want to have a free Friday for a change, so we're not going to have a show on, I think that's the 5th of February, which is also Super Bowl weekend, so maybe you guys can do something with that. And we'll be back the next week. I believe the next week is going to be another Virtual Pipe Club. And then after that, we have a guest who I believe is Andrew Siriano. If I'm getting your name right, Andrew. Andrew C. I think he's the week after that. So come back next week. I'll have more details on all of that. So I want to thank you all as I finish up my drink for tonight. Thank you all for joining us. Thanks for being such great audience for David-Dorian Ross. I really appreciate that you guys showed up for him. That was really nice. And as I say every week, this is the high point of my week, and I really mean it. I look forward to it, and I hope that I've been able to provide you guys with some entertainment and a chance to get together and smoke a pipe. So guys, with that, I am going to call this to a close. I wish you all the best for the weekend. I'll try to do a video on Sunday, and until then, all take care, and we'll see you soon.